For 12 years, I thought she chose someone else. Then one question destroyed everything I believed.
I wrote to you.
Then why did your letter never find me?
I never gave you her letter.
You stole 12 years. Sometimes love doesn't disappear. The truth simply arrives too late. But even after 12 years, some hearts never stop waiting. They say that every story has a heartbeat, but some hold memories that we can never forget. I almost skipped my 10-year reunion. I already knew what waited for me there. Bad DJ, sagging balloons, name tags nobody could read in the dark, and men my age pretending their knees didn't hurt when they danced. I told myself I'd show up, shake a few hands, laugh at a few jokes I didn't find funny, and leave before the slideshow started. That was the plan. Plans don't survive the moment someone walks through the door in navy blue. My name is Ryan Coleman. I was 32, working as a financial analyst in Denver. That was easy to describe and hard to feel proud of. A one-bedroom apartment. A car I kept far too long. A habit of leaving gatherings quietly enough that people forgot I'd even come. Coming back to Millbrook for the weekend was supposed to be simple. Smile, make small talk, drive home Sunday morning. The reunion was held in our old gym, the one that still smelled like polish and teenage nerves. Someone had taped up a banner from graduation year that had faded from navy to something closer to gray. I stood near the drink table, already counting the minutes until I could leave. Coleman, didn't think you'd show. I turned and found Tyler Bishop, holding 2 cups of soda, grinning like a man who had never once worried about being liked. He sold solar panels now. I told him I did spreadsheets for insurance companies. Neither of us knew what to do with that information. So we nodded the way men do when a conversation has quietly died. Then his eyes moved past my shoulder, and his grin changed shape. Well, look who it is. I didn't need to ask who. Some names don't need announcing. They just open a door somewhere behind your ribs. Naomi Bennett had sat 2 seats behind me in journalism class senior year. She used to chew the cap of her pen when she was thinking, and she always smelled faintly like the eucalyptus lotion she kept in her backpack. She was the kind of smart that never made anyone feel small, and she had absolutely no idea that half our graduating class had quietly built a small shrine to her laugh. I loved her the way people love things they never ask for, carefully, and mostly in silence. We used to stay after class so she could help me with layout edits for the school paper, even though I never once needed the help. I just liked watching her mark things up with a red pen like she was rewriting the world one sentence at a time. Once, after I made a joke that caught her off guard, she looked at me and said, "You listen like you're taking notes on my soul." I thought about that sentence more times than I want to admit. Then graduation came, and everyone said she'd left town with Jake Turner, the guy with the baseball scholarship and the smile built for yearbook photos. I never confirmed it. I didn't want to know badly enough to ask and be wrong. I finally turned around. Naomi stood near the gym doors in a navy dress, holding her phone like she needed something to do with her hands. Her hair was shorter now, falling just past her shoulders. She looked less like the girl I remembered and more like someone who had actually lived, which, somehow, made her more striking, not less. Her eyes found mine across the room, and for 1 second the noise of the gym went soft and far away. She crossed the floor slowly, the way you approach something you're not sure is still yours to approach. "Ryan." Her voice was steadier than I expected. "You came." "So did you." "Almost didn't." "Same." That pulled a small laugh out of her, warmer than I remembered, like the years had added weight to it instead of taking anything away. Then her expression shifted. Not nerves from the reunion, something older. "Can I ask you something?" she said. My chest tightened before I even answered. "Okay." She took a breath like she was stepping off a ledge. "Why did you never write back?" For a second, I thought I'd misheard her over the music. "Write back to what?" Her face changed, and I watched my answer land somewhere she hadn't been ready for it to land. "You didn't get it," she said quietly. It wasn't a question anymore. "Get what, Naomi?" She glanced toward the trophy case like she needed somewhere else to put her eyes. "I left you a note before I moved, the week after graduation, before I left for Seattle." "You left for Seattle?" Her eyebrows pulled together. "Yes." "With Jake?" "What? No. Why would you think that?" "Because that's what everyone said. Because I was 18 and it hurt less to believe a rumor than to ask you directly and find out it was true." I didn't say all of that. I just said, "I heard things." She let out a breath that wasn't quite a laugh. "Of course you did." A few classmates drifted close, loud and half drunk on nostalgia, so she stepped nearer to me instinctively. Her perfume reached me, something like citrus and rain, and my chest reacted like no time had passed at all. "What was in the note?" I asked. Her fingers tightened around her phone. She opened her mouth, then closed it, and shook her head. "Not here." We ended up in the hallway outside the gym, under photos of past principals who all somehow looked disappointed in the entire student body. The music dulled behind the doors. Same lockers, same chipped tile, same hallway where I used to watch her decorate posters for the debate team, tongue caught between her teeth in concentration. She leaned against the wall across from me. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what?" "For assuming the worst of you for 12 years. That landed harder than I expected. "It's been 12 years, I said, trying for lightness. "I think we both assumed things." She looked at me, just my name sitting somewhere behind her eyes. "Ryan." I looked down at my shoes. "What did you write?" I asked again. She breathed in slowly. "I wrote that I was in love with you." The hallway seemed to tilt, quietly, like the floor had shifted an inch and my legs hadn't caught up. "I wrote," she continued, voice trembling now, "that I was too scared to say it out loud because every time I tried, you looked like you were already halfway out the door. I wrote that I didn't want to leave without you knowing, and I gave you my cousin's address in Seattle in case you wanted to write back." I couldn't speak. "I waited," she said, "all that summer, then into the fall. Every time the mail came, I found a reason to be the one who checked it. I told myself maybe you needed time, then maybe you were upset. Then," she swallowed, "then I told myself you were kind enough to just let it go quietly instead of embarrassing me." I pressed my hand against the cold locker beside me. "I never got it." Her eyes searched mine, deciding whether to believe me. It didn't take her long. "I know," she said softly. "I believe you." A short, broken laugh escaped me. "I was in love with you too." Her lips parted. "I was," I said, because after 12 years, pretending felt pointless. "I used to walk past the newspaper room on Thursdays because I knew you'd be there. I read 3 books I didn't understand because you recommended them. I remember you hate cilantro." "I still hate cilantro," she whispered. "Who did you give the note to?" I asked. "You said you wrote it before you left. Did you mail it?" Her eyes dropped. "No, I was scared I'd lose my nerve, so I sealed it and asked someone to give it to you at the graduation bonfire." Something cold moved through me. "Who?" She looked toward the gym doors. "My cousin, Vanessa." I remembered Vanessa Reyes vaguely, sharp eyeliner, always leaning against her car like the whole world bored her, 2 years older than us and working part-time at the pharmacy that summer. "She said she'd give it to you," Naomi continued. "She was going to the bonfire anyway. I couldn't go, my flight left early the next morning." The gym doors swung open, and a woman stepped into the hallway mid-laugh. Her hair was cut into a sleek bob now, her dress black and expensive-looking. She saw us, and her smile thinned immediately. "Well," Vanessa said, "this looks serious." Naomi straightened. "Vanessa." I felt Naomi brace beside me, and that alone told me more than I wanted to know. "We were talking about the note," Naomi said. "The one I gave you for Ryan." The air in the hallway changed. It was small, a flicker at the corner of Vanessa's mouth, but it was enough. "What note?" Vanessa asked, too fast. "Don't," Naomi said. Vanessa crossed her arms. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." A couple stepped out of the gym, took one look at our faces, and quietly decided the snack table was safer. The doors closed behind them. Naomi took a step toward her cousin. "You told me years ago that you gave it to him, and he probably threw it away." "Because that's what happened," Vanessa snapped. "No," I said. Both women turned to me. "I never got it." Vanessa gave a short, humorless laugh. "Of course you'd say that." I kept my voice level, the way years of talking down frustrated clients had trained me to. People reveal more when you don't chase them. "Why would I lie?" I asked. "To make her feel better? To make myself look better? Pick one." Naomi stared at her cousin. "Why are you so angry right now?" "I'm not." "You are." Vanessa looked away, and there it was, a crack in the composure. Naomi stepped closer. "What did you do?" Vanessa's jaw tightened. "I protected you." The words dropped between us like something breaking. Naomi went very still. "From him?" Vanessa looked at me, and for the first time I saw something under the irritation. Guilt, maybe. Or fear dressed up as pride. "From this town," Vanessa said. "From ending up like Aunt Carol, married at 20 to the first boy who made her feel special, stuck here forever while everyone else got to leave." "I never asked her to stay," I said quietly. "You wouldn't have had to," Vanessa shot back. "She was already soft about you. Stupid soft." Naomi flinched. Vanessa saw it and lowered her voice, but not the intent behind it. "You had a real shot. Design school. An aunt in Seattle. A city where nobody knew our dad drank himself out of 2 jobs. You think I was going to let you throw that away for a boy and a folded piece of paper?" My pulse pounded in my ears. Naomi's voice came out barely above a whisper. "You didn't give it to him." Vanessa's face lost some of its hardness. "No," she admitted. "Did you throw it away?" Vanessa hesitated, then said quieter, "I told myself I did." The hallway seemed to shrink around us. 12 years, apartments, jobs, birthdays spent alone, almost relationships that quietly failed because some part of me never fully trusted happiness when it finally knocked. All of it sitting inside one decision that wasn't mine or hers to make. Naomi stepped back like she'd been pushed. "You let me believe he ignored me. I cried for months, Vanessa." "You survived." Naomi's face changed. The hurt was still there, but something sturdier moved through it. "At what cost?" she asked. Vanessa had no answer for that. Someone called her name from inside the gym. She didn't move. Naomi turned to me, eyes bright, voice barely steady. "I need air." I nodded, and we walked out together, away from the noise, away from Vanessa, away from the life that had almost belonged to us. Neither of us looked back. Outside, the night smelled like cut grass and the beginning of rain. The football field lights were off, the scoreboard dark and peeling with age. Somewhere past the fence, crickets filled in the silence neither of us could. Naomi walked to the edge of the sidewalk and stopped under a big oak tree, staring at the empty student lot like she expected to see her 18-year-old self still sitting there with a sealed envelope in her lap. "I hated you a little," she said finally. I nodded, even though it stung. "I know." "No, you don't." She turned to me, tears catching the parking lot light. "I hated that you were still kind to me afterward. That you never said anything unkind, never told people I'd embarrassed myself. I thought you were being decent. Like you were quietly saying, let's just pretend that never happened. I thought you'd chosen Jake and were being gentle about not telling me." She laughed, broken and soft. "We were idiots. We were 18. "Same thing," I said. The laugh faded, and quiet settled over us again. I wanted to reach for her. My hands genuinely ached with it. But she had just watched a piece of her past get torn open in a hallway, and I didn't want to be one more person making a decision for her. So I stayed still. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "I can't believe she did that." "Did she always try to control things?" "Yes," Naomi said. "But she called it protecting people. After our dad left, she basically raised herself, then tried to raise me too." She thought feelings were a luxury we couldn't afford. She stole something from you, I said. From both of us. Naomi's eyes met mine, and there it was. Not the anger, not even the grief. The possibility. 12 years hadn't erased whatever this was between us. It had only taught me how to build a life around the space where it used to be. What happened in Seattle? I asked. She exhaled slowly. Design school, waitressing to cover rent, a job doing layout for a small magazine that barely paid but felt like mine. Then my mom got sick 6 years ago, so I came back. I'm sorry. She's okay now, mostly, Naomi shrugged. I stayed because staying got easier than leaving twice. I understood that better than I wanted to admit. What about you? She asked. Denver, work, a few almosts. Almost engaged once. Her face shifted before she could stop it. Oh. She said I was kind and dependable, but emotionally, I was like a waiting room. Comfortable. Nobody's final destination. Naomi let out a surprised laugh, then covered her mouth. Sorry. No, she wasn't wrong. Her smile softened. Then she looked down at her hands. I never married either. I tried not to react, failed. I told myself it wasn't because of you, she said. And maybe it wasn't only because of you. But every time someone got close, part of me was still standing by a mailbox in Seattle. My chest tightened. I'm sorry, I said. For a note you never got? For not asking, for believing rumors instead of you, for letting pride make my decisions for me. We both did that. Yeah, I said, but I'm only responsible for my half. She studied me for a long moment. You're still exactly you. Is that bad? No, her voice warmed. It's the opposite. A car passed on the road beyond the school, headlights sweeping over us before disappearing again. When the dark returned, she was standing closer than before, or maybe I was. I don't know what to do with all of this, she whispered. Neither do I. I'm angry and sad and unreasonably happy that you didn't just let me go, and annoyed that being happy about it makes me feel 18 again. She laughed through unshed tears. That's a lot for a school parking lot. It really is. This time, when I lifted my hand, I moved slowly enough that she could step away if she wanted to. She didn't. I brushed a tear from her cheek, and her eyes closed for half a second, like the years between us folded instead of vanished. Folded carefully, like something kept safe on purpose. We don't have to decide anything tonight, I said. Don't we? No. We already lost 12 years because someone else made a choice for us, and we let silence finish the job. I don't want to rush into anything just because the truth finally showed up. She searched my face. So what do we do? I smiled, faint but real. We start smaller than forever. The gym doors opened behind us. Vanessa stepped out alone, her face pale now, all the sharp edges gone. Naomi tensed but didn't move away from me. I still have it, Vanessa said quietly. Naomi went rigid. You said you threw it away. Vanessa's voice shook. I lied about that too. She reached into her bag with trembling hands and pulled out a slightly yellowed envelope. My name was written across the front in handwriting I somehow still recognized. Not Rye, not R, just Ryan. Like even back then, she understood I didn't let many people close enough to shorten it. Naomi stared at it like it might disappear if she blinked. I couldn't throw it away, Vanessa said. I wanted to. I told myself I had. But some part of me kept it in case one day you hated me enough that I'd need proof I had a reason. A reason? Naomi's voice was hollow. Vanessa's eyes filled. A terrible one. No one moved for a long moment. Then Naomi took the envelope, her thumb brushing over a seal that had stayed closed for 12 years. She turned to me. It was yours. I shook my head. No, it was ours. So she opened it. The paper had softened with age. Under the entrance light of our old high school, she read the words her 18-year-old self had been brave enough to write. And I finally understood everything I had spent over a decade building a careful, quiet life around avoiding. She didn't read every line aloud. Some things belonged only to the girl who wrote them. But she read enough. Ryan, I keep trying to say this to your face, but I get scared you'll hear exactly how much I mean it. I don't want to leave without telling you the truth. If you don't feel the same, please don't be cruel about it. Just don't write back and I'll understand. But if you do feel something too, I'll be waiting to hear from you. I don't know what happens after this. I only know I couldn't leave without giving us a real chance to begin. Naomi stopped there, her voice gone. I couldn't see clearly either. Vanessa was crying too, quietly, though neither of us moved to comfort her yet. Some forgiveness needs time before it becomes honest. Naomi folded the letter and pressed it to her chest. I did love you, I said. I know, she whispered. I would have written back. I know, she said again, and somehow that was the closest thing to healing either of us got that night. Not getting the years back, not undoing 12 years of silence, but finally standing inside the same truth together. Vanessa apologized again. Naomi listened. She didn't forgive her fully, and she didn't punish her either. She simply said, I need some space from you for a while. And Vanessa nodded like someone finally learning that protecting someone without asking is just control wearing a kinder name. Naomi and I didn't go back inside. We walked instead, past the old newspaper room windows, past the bench where I used to sit pretending I wasn't waiting for her, until the parking lot emptied out and the reunion lights shut off behind us. Near midnight, I asked if I could call her the next day. She smiled. You'd better. 8 months later, I knew the drive between Denver and Millbrook better than any road I'd ever traveled. We didn't rush anything. There were long phone calls, a few awkward silences, one real argument about whether we were falling for who we used to be or who we'd actually become. The answer, eventually, was both. By the following spring, Naomi took a design job back in Seattle, not to run from anything this time, but because it was work she actually wanted. I followed 2 months later, not because she asked me to, but because for the first time in my life, I knew exactly which door I needed to walk through. We found an apartment with uneven floors and too much afternoon light. She kept the letter framed on a shelf near the window, not as a wound, but as proof that some things survive even when they're buried. Some nights I'll catch her reading by that window, lamplight catching the strands of gray starting to show at her temples, and I'll think about that hallway, that question, that envelope that waited 12 years to become a beginning instead of an ending. I used to believe love was something you either caught in time or lost forever. I was wrong. Sometimes love just waits quietly in the dark, folded and unopened, until two people are finally brave enough to read what was true the entire time. If you've ever wondered whether one missing letter could quietly reroute an entire life, tell me in the comments what you would have done in Ryan's place. And have you ever mistaken someone's silence for rejection, when really, the truth just never reached you? Tell me your story below. If this one hit you somewhere, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.